To Make Old Friends by Incidental Pegasus number 5. Chapter 8. Something Special for a Friend. First I smiled uncomfortably as Apple Bloom ran up to her and began to bombard her with questions.
Does he come to mine hunting? Does he stop the Applejack? Is he gonna come pleasing?
First I wished there was some way she could just lie to Apple Bloom, or at least avoid answering the question. The filly looked so hopeful. She didn't need to have those hopes crushed yet, did she? Fortunately, first I knew there was no way around it. If Apple Bloom didn't get a straight answer now, she'd only get hurt worse in the long run. Still, it wouldn't hurt to ease into it gently.
I did have a chance to meet your sister when I was in the city. When you see your brother later, would you please thank him for his help? I really appreciate what he did for me.
If the address Big Macintosh hadn't given her was as definitive as it had been, that was only because he didn't know that his sister had taken to calling herself Valencia. If it hadn't been for the Apple's help, she wouldn't have known to look in Manhattan at all. Apple wouldn't be deterred.
I'll be happy to, Fluttershy, but what happened with Applejack? What's he say? What's he coming?
First I tried not to cringe. She hated to have delivered bad news. A few months earlier, Parasol had been injured when the team was clearing a storm that had rolled in from Everfree. Fortunately, she had wound up all right, but she had a nasty fall and was taken to the hospital for observation. First I had gone to tell Parasol's family what happened, but she had to take Cloudkicker with her. In fact, Cloudkicker had ended up doing most of the talking.
Actually, Apple Bloom, when I spoke to her...
Apple Bloom continued onward. He was the Fluttershy's attempts to speak.
Oh, I'll help, but his is a lawyer. What are you supposed to wear when you're gonna meet your sister for the first time? Apple Bloom?
The filly stopped her nervous dance when she caught the serious, sad look on Fluttershy's face.
The Applejack sees it coming. I'm sorry. Says now?
Apple Bloom's eyes began to water. Fluttershy felt like tearing up at the sight herself, but she knew she had to resist. She was the adult here, and she needed to be strong for her young friend's sake.
But why? Doesn't he love me? What did I do wrong? He didn't do it.
Apple Bloom gasped before Fluttershy was able to do anything to reassure her.
Oh no! Well, it's because I can't ask him about cutie marks. Unless he really doesn't have cutie mark and I hurt her feelings.
She desperately grabbed Fluttershy by the shoulders.
Please tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I didn't believe it. I won't say anything to her about cutie marks ever again. Never, ever.
Fluttershy wrapped her forelegs around the crying filly and hugged her close.
When I asked her to visit, I told her I promised you I would. Even though she didn't say no, she was still glad I kept my promise to you. Just because he isn't coming doesn't mean he loves you very much. But then, why does he want to see me?
Apple Bloom pulled back and looked into Fluttershy's eyes, but couldn't hold the gaze for long before returning to crying softly on her shoulder.
I'm sorry, Apple Bloom. I don't have an answer for you. I didn't get to speak to her for very long.
First I tried to think of something she could say to help.
Would you like to hear something from when I was a filly?
She wasn't sure if this would work, but couldn't think of what else to do. The sound of a muffled uh-huh came from that filly.
My parents are very influential parties in Cloudsdale. Growing up, they took me in for a lot of fancy parties that I hated. They weren't doing it to make me unhappy. They thought it was the best thing they could do for my future. I remember my mother always telling me I would think I had been worth it if I was older. But aside from making one wonderful friend, I still don't. The important thing is that even though my parents and I disagreed on what was best for me, that doesn't mean they don't love me or I don't love them.
She smiled hopefully. She wasn't sure that she managed to convince Apple Bloom. To be honest, she hadn't considered herself if the situation was relevant here.
Did that help at all? Not really, but thanks.
Came the stifled reply from Fluttershy's shoulder.
Well, you were my sister.
First I nuzzled the side of Apple Bloom's head. Maybe it would help if she had a distraction to get her mind off of things.
Apple Bloom, would you like to help me with something? I will.
She was still sniffling, but she looked at Fluttershy with curious eyes.
Do you remember how I'm in charge of the weather team?
At least a little slip-up the last time she was here turned out to be good for something.
Well, this year, we've been chosen to make sure Cloudsdale gets the water they need to make rain clouds. Before we do, we need to take some wind power measurements. We could always use an extra set of hose to help out.
First I wasn't sure how much help the filly would be. It wouldn't be safe for her to be there in the tornado itself, but at least it might cheer her up.
Would you like to? If that's okay with your brother and Granny, that is.
Apple Bloom wiped the fallen tears from her face.
All right, I'll ask him.
First I smiled. Looked like your friend was feeling a little bare.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Fluttershy, for everything.
Applebloom hugged Fluttershy before trotting back down the path to her family's farm. Fluttershy's conversation with Applebloom and reminders he was going to need to find somebody to run the Out under. So he didn't know if there was anybody on our team familiar with the device. But ultimately, it didn't matter. When it came time for the tornado, so he needed every Pegasus there as part of the formation, and he wanted to have a chance of pulling this off. This posed a problem for Fluttershy, as he did not know many Earth ponies or unicorns, and he feared that might be able to help her with this. Applebloom was still willing there to be true, but she was just a filly, and would really only be there to assist the pony doing the work. Fluttershy wasn't expecting much anyway. The invitation had been made to lift the filly's spirits, not to secure her help. She supposed being Macintosh or Rarity could do in a pinch, but she didn't know if either was familiar with such things. Besides, they were probably too busy with the farm and bakery respectively to be able to help out. It wouldn't be right for her to pursue upon her time like that, unless it became an emergency. Her newest friend would probably be able to help, but Camelot was so far away. She couldn't ask Twilight Sparkle to abandon her studies for several days. With that in mind, Fluttershy's host brought her to Ponyville's library. There was someone she knew could point her in the direction. It would probably be Cheerilee. When she arrived at the library, she found Ponyville's teacher, a defected librarian in the middle of reselling books. She let the book she'd been holding in her mouth fall to the floor.
Hello, Fluttershy. Is there something I can help you with? Do you need a book? Oh no, I just...
Fluttershy paused, looking at the shelves of books. It might be a long shot, but there was a book she needed. She may not be able to be very likely. The library of a small town like Ponyville would have had something massive at the library Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns didn't. At least on a subject like the one she was interested in. But it couldn't hurt to ask.
Now you mentioned there might be. Do you have any books that talk about alternate universes?
Cheerilee thought for a moment.
I might have something.
She tried to another shelf and scanned the row of spines, before pulling a book out.
Were you looking for something like this?
First I felt a surge of hope until she saw the title. The book Cheerilee was holding was older and more worn than the one Twilight had been reading, but it was thus their copy of A Mirror to Ourselves, the Multi-Universe in Fiction.
Thank you, but, that's not really what I meant.
Alright, Cheerilee said, returning the book, before going over to another shelf.
How about this?
First I looked at the cover. Pure Tear Pegasi on a white rainbow dash, and the title of Daring Do in the Mirror of Fate.
Actually, well, I was hoping you had something more practical.
Cheerilee looked puzzled. Well, I think we may have the self-help book somewhere. First I was starting to regret saying anything.
No, I, meant...
She paused, swallowing hard before continuing.
Real alternate universes.
She lowered her head, letting her mane fall in front of her face, so Cheerilee couldn't see how embarrassed she was.
Or, that is, ones that, might be real.
She couldn't look at Cheerilee, but the silence from the other mare told her all she needed to know.
I'm sorry to bother you. I'll go now.
As far as I started to go, she was stopped by the teacher's voice.
Oh, I don't think we have anything like...
Fluttershy, where are you going? Fluttershy turned back towards Cheerilee, but couldn't bring herself to look at her.
I shouldn't be wasting your time like this. Asking about something like that. You must think I'm so silly.
Wanting to learn about something should never be embarrassing, even if it's something silly.
How would you know it without looking at it?
Cheerilee allowed herself a small chuckle. Besides, I teach little fillies and colts all day. You don't have to worry about saying anything too silly to me. She leaned in and half whispered,
Recently, one of my students spent a week or so trying to find a stallion for me to date.
Sweet girl, meant well and all, but... She shook herself. But I'm sure you aren't interested in hearing about that. Like I said, I don't think we have any books like that. I could check again if you like.
Oh, I don't want to be in any trouble. Maybe some other time.
First I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. But she hadn't really expected the much smaller Ponyville library to have something that could help her anyway. Mostly, she was simply grateful Cheerilee hadn't responded to her question, as though there was something wrong with her for having asked it.
The book really wasn't the reason I came here. Are you familiar with anemometers?
She explained about the upcoming tornado doing.
So I need somebody to operate the anemometer to make sure we have enough wind power. And I thought you could...
Cheerilee snorted in annoyance. You thought I could do it, just like every pony else in town does. Fluttershy's ears fell flat against her head, found herself right for hoof, edging his back way towards the door.
I thought you could recommend somebody. I hardly know any pony in Ponyville at all. Since you take care of the library, I figure you'd be familiar enough with all the intellectual ponies in town. Since that's the place to start asking.
She turned her eyes away from Charlie, not wanting to let her feel like she was being criticized. To be honest with herself, first I couldn't help but feel a little irritated at the other bear's assumption that she was, in her own silent way, criticizing Charlie. Nevertheless, she saw no reason to voice that irritation and make Charlie feel uncomfortable about it. From some of the more vocal observations to her appointment as weather manager, Fluttershy knew how bad that sort of thing could make some pony feel, despite them not knowing each other that well. She also felt it was safe to say Charlie wasn't a bad pony. She only made a bad assumption. Fluttershy clarified things. There was no reason to call any more attention to it than that. I'm sorry, Charlie said sheepishly. You know, I could manage to have an order for you if you need some honey. Fluttershy asked,
Are you sure?
before she could stop herself. She tired herself for doing so, since he did, after all, need some pony's help, and Charlie was volunteering. Fortunately, Charlie didn't take the opportunity to rescind her offer. It's fine, she smiled, though the smile didn't make it to her eyes. It's not like I have a social life to get in the way anyway.
Thank you.
First, I wasn't sure if Charlie was joking or not.
I really appreciate it.
Something important came to mind. She had,
There is one thing. Applebloom is one of your students, right?
Charlie nodded.
She was feeling upset earlier, so I told her she could help. You don't mind, do you? I can always ask somebody else if it's a problem.
Not at all. I love having Applebloom in class. Hope everything's all right for her. Charlie stopped for a moment. Did something happen with Applejack? First, I didn't say anything, but the expression wasn't clearly didn't have to.
The other day, Applebloom was so excited. She couldn't stop talking about her sister.
Charlie clarified. So all I could do to get her to calm down enough for me to teach class. This is exactly what I was going to worry was going to happen. That mare hasn't been back to town since we were fillies. First, I could feel her skin flush under her coat, although she couldn't really argue what Charlie was saying. She wasn't happy with the way Valencia handled her sister's request either. Felt wrong to hear somebody disparage her friend.
Not really my place to say.
I understand. Just let me know when you need me for your weather project. First, I walked tentatively into Sugar Cube Corner. Hopefully, Rarity would be there today. Of all the 5 ponies Fluttershy had planned on befriending, Rarity seemed the most open to the idea they had first met. She just hoped Rarity wouldn't be too disappointed when she found out Fluttershy wasn't the sophisticated pony Rarity seemed to think she was. It seemed like she was in luck. The bakery was quiet, save for the sweet sound of a melody emanating from the kitchen that abruptly stopped when Fluttershy stepped on a squeaky floorboard. Is somebody out there? I'm sorry, but we're not open. Rarity's head approached to the doorway. A pair of red glasses perched on her muzzles. Oh, hello, Fluttershy. As Rarity walked out, clouded a powder blue blouse and white skirt, to greet the Pegasus. First, I looked around and realized there were only 2 ponies in the shop.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Rarity just waved her off. Oh, forget about that, darling. We're closed at the moment, but I'd be happy to make an exception for you if you'd like something. First, I allowed herself a small smile. She didn't want to get ahead of herself, but the baker's behavior seemed promising.
Thank you, Rarity, but I'm not really hungry. The reason I came here was because I was hoping to have a chance to talk to you.
Rarity's eyes lit up. Really? I'll take you left so quick last time. I wasn't sure you were ever coming back.
Oh, no. I just didn't want to keep any pony waiting when they wanted to buy something.
Mostly, though, she wanted to avoid the awkward situation between Rarity and the cream-colored pony she had managed to antagonize. She hated being around situations like that. They made her feel so uncomfortable. Fluttershy tensed as she prepared to ask Rarity for her friendship. Everything she suggested to accept, if anything, that made her more worried about messing it up.
I was wondering if you wanted to be friends.
You aren't already? Rarity asked half to herself, quizzically. Nevertheless, I would be honored to be considered your friend, Fluttershy. She walked over to embrace the Pegasus. I must say how wonderful the prospect of having some pony around who truly understands me is. I don't think most of the ponies in town would like me very much. They think my interest in culture is silly. I do hope we can become great friends.
So do I,
responded Fluttershy. She wasn't sure whether to be thankful that it had been so easy. It would be the first time since this all started that something had been too good to be true. She still needed to tell Rarity about the other Fluttershy's world and their places in it. She had no idea how the baker reacted to all that.
There's something else I wanted.
Fluttershy began, before she was cut off by a small white blur that raced past, screaming Rarity's name. nearly knocking them both over. A thinly sliced orange blur followed close behind. The two blurs slowed down to reveal a pair of fillies, a unicorn and a pegasus respectively. The former jumped up on the baker's counter. Look! The filly exclaimed, trying to emphasize her flank. It was adorned by a pink trio of musical eighth notes with heart-shaped heads. Pretty cool, huh? Asked the Pegasus filly, beaming at her companion's accomplishment. You got a kitty mark! The flicker of something in Rarity's expression, surprise perhaps, or maybe sorrow, only lasted a second before being replaced by pride. Congratulations, sweetie belle! She cried, slipping the little unicorn off the counter into the grass. Oh, now my manners. Fluttershy, this is my little sister Sweetie Belle and her friend Skidoo. Sweetie, Skidoo, this is my friend Fluttershy.
It's nice to meet you both.
Sweetie Belle quickly said hello, but Skidoo just stood there grinning, staring at Fluttershy, and in a way was starting to make her uncomfortable. You're Fluttershy? The Fluttershy? Skidoo's wings buzzed rapidly, though she remained on the ground.
Oh, well, I'm a Fluttershy, she stammered. I don't matter how many there are.
The intensity of Skidoo's attention was distressing. It didn't look like there any help was going before coming, as Rarity was listening intently to Sweetie Belle recount how she got her cutie mark. You're in charge of the wear team, right? Fluttershy reluctantly nodded. That is so cool. My dad says that they just don't let anybody do that. You have to be really special.
Actually, I'm not sure that's really...
Fluttershy trailed off as she could feel shame burning in her face. She knew all too well that the thing that was so special about her was her, as far as headquarters had been concerned, wasn't anything like her flying ability, or leadership, or even intelligence. Merely her bloodline. Are you okay, Fluttershy? Skidoo asked, considering her eyes. Fluttershy tried to hide her concern. After all, the air Pegasus was just a filly. No need to burst her clouds simply because Fluttershy's own problems.
Yes, thank you. I'm fine.
I can't believe I'm talking to Fluttershy. I heard you ever came down here to Ponyville, but now you're here and we're hanging out. This is so... Skidoo fumbled for words, deciding to all said by go! Fluttershy was at a loss for words. That somebody could idolize her like this wasn't something she had ever considered, as he had no idea how to respond. Luckily, they had a moment to collect herself, as both her and Skidoo's attentions were drawn by a squeal from Sweetie Belle, as Rarity lifted her sister onto her back. The distraction ended. Skidoo returned her attention back to her newly met hero. So, how incredible is it that you just ran to each other like this? Her eyes grew even larger as they had been. Oh, I know, I should tell you about myself. I mean, I know who you are, always the most awesome Pegasus in Equestria, but you don't know anything about me. Would you like to? Skidoo may have been more excitable than Fluttershy was comfortable with, but she didn't really want to hurt the filly's feelings. Even before she finished agreeing, though, Skidoo continued to talk. My name's Skidoo. Wait, you knew that already. My mom and dad moved to Ponyville from Baltimore before I was born. Mom and dad are both unicorns. I'm the first Pegasus in my family since my great-great-great-great-grandma Firefly. I don't really know too many Pegasi. That is why I haven't really learned how to fly yet. Anyway, like I said, my parents are from Baltimore. Though Skidoo kept talking, Fluttershy couldn't stop thinking by the look she had on her face when she mentioned she couldn't fly. Skidoo looked like she was about the same age as Fluttershy's classmates had been when they started flying. Despite how much Skidoo's adoration was making her uncomfortable, she couldn't help but reminded of her own struggles when she was younger. You know, Sweetie Belle, Rarity said, we don't have many too old today, and I'm already ahead of schedule. I think I might have time to make something special for you. Getting your kitty mark certainly calls for a Cinder Basin, does it not? Yeah! Sweetie Belle's voice squeaked as she hopped off of Rarity's back. Can you help me bake it, please? Sweetie, remember what happened last time you tried to cook at home? It took Mother and I days to get the kitchen back to normal. Rarity tried to resist Sweetie Belle's pleading scare. You know I just work here, right? This isn't my bakery. I promise I'll be careful, Sweetie Belle panted. Please! Rarity didn't stand a chance. Very well, but, she clarified, only this once because it's a special occasion, and only if you do exactly what I tell you. Sweetie Belle exclaimed, throwing her forelegs around Rarity's neck. From what Fluttershy could tell, the two sisters were having a special family moment she didn't want to interrupt, but she couldn't be sure. Skidoo would not stop talking. That's my entire life story up until today. Oh, want to hear about today? Fluttershy didn't want to hear about today, but she didn't want to disappoint some point that looked up to her the way Skidoo did. That made her late bloomer when it came to her ability to fly only made it worse.
That's very nice, Skidoo, but I'm not sure I could stay here much longer. Maybe you could tell me next time?
That probably excited Gaster the filly, and a buzzing of wings. Next time?
Well, the next time the weather team has a big project, you can come and watch. And your parents say it's all right.
She quickly added.
You can even meet some of the team.
They were both very lucky. First I thought, Scootaloo wouldn't even find somebody actually deserving of an admiration. The frantic beating of Scootaloo's wings intensified. Going to her a couple feet off the ground for a moment.
Oh, wow, that's so cool! Thanks, Fluttershy! You're welcome, Scootaloo. Hey, Fluttershy?
Scootaloo turned away from her and hastily scraped her hoof against the floor.
Would it be alright if Sleepbell came too? I know she's not Pegasus, but she's my best friend! Of course Sleepbell could come if she wants.
Scootaloo's mention of her best friend couldn't help but make Fluttershy think of Cloudkicker and her feelings of guilt. All the times he was planning to spend, getting to know other Fluttershy's friends, was he letting her best friend that had stuck her by through everything? She didn't think she'd ever forget the way Cloudkicker had looked back in Care-a-Lot. South Fluttershy was telling her she didn't want to be friends anymore. Especially she didn't want to ever see again. She did not seem nice for Cloudkicker to show her she cared.
Excuse me, Verity. I'm sorry to hear about your sister, but I was wondering if I could buy you anything. It's for somebody very important to me.
Muffins? Cloudkicker blinked in surprise at the open pastry box sitting before her on the table.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cloudkicker.
Fluttershy apologized, disappointed at the apparent failure of gift.
I thought you liked muffins. I could go back and get something else that turned out good.
Oh, you don't have to apologize, Cloudkicker assured her. You're right, I do like muffins. Her friend's words tickled stopped the Fluttershy from worrying.
Did I get the wrong kind?
What? No, they're...
Did I get enough? Oh no, maybe I got too many.
A pair of leather hooves of wings wrapped around Fluttershy's body to calm her down. Relax, Fluttershy. There isn't anything wrong with the muffins. Cloudkicker let go of her friend and grabbed one of the muffins and taking a bite, smiling. See? Tasty! She said through a mouthful of cake and chocolate chips.
Oh, good.
Fluttershy said, relieved.
I was afraid you didn't like them. I really wanted to do something special for you.
Cloudkicker began to feel like she had missed out parts of the important conversation. Oh, well, thanks. Sorry I made you think I didn't like them, she tried to explain. I was just surprised. What's the occasion?
There isn't one. Not really. It's just that, well, I've been spending time with other Fluttershy's friends lately. I thought it'd be nice to do something. Nice for you.
A bright pink plus began to spread across Fluttershy's face.
To show you how much you mean to me, and, I care for you a lot.
Oh, that's very... Thank you, Fluttershy. Cloudkicker managed to stammer out before pulling Fluttershy into a hug. You mean a lot to me, too. As he embraced her friend, one question gnawed at the back of Cloudkicker's mind. Was Fluttershy just... No, she must be imagining things. The theoretical basis for this spell may seem daunting at first, but as you can see, a Beethoven pointed to a nearby desk. What appeared to be a simple orange laid out cheerfully. Once you gain experience with the process, it can actually be quite simple. Twilight Hill Professor Tower didn't notice how much she was squirming her sheet. Normally she would find this fascinating. Indeed, she did find it fascinating, but she just couldn't stay focused today. She looked down at the notes she had been taking, spying into Soyan, not like her at all. Again, she debated herself she really should go through what she was planning. It would be the most important thing she ever done, or the most foolish, probably even both. She glanced anxiously up at the clock. Only a few minutes left of the professor's scheduled lecture time. Half of her couldn't wait for him to tick off, but the other half wished she could stretch out for hours. Oh, there's only one way to stop time while she figured things out. On the one hand, Fluttershy, for reasons the students still cannot fathom, had offered Twilight her friendship. No pony had ever done that before. Well, no pony except for a BBBFF, but that was different. Shiny was family, and family has to love you, even if you're just a failure and never accomplished anything. She could feel herself start to tear up a bit. Not now, not where all her classmates could see. The science Pegasus may insist if Twilight didn't need to offer her anything but friendship. But Twilight couldn't help but bring herself to agree. For whatever reason, Fluttershy had chosen to extend a hope of friendship to her. She needed to do something nice for her new friend to repay that trust. She wanted to show Fluttershy that she had made the right choice. She placed her trust in a pony of value. A small part of Twilight admitted she wanted to show herself that too. And that was it, wasn't it? If there was another Twilight Sparkle out there, God was Twilight Sparkle. Maybe that Twilight Sparkle soared away. Maybe she could find out what she'd been doing wrong all these years. Maybe she could finally be the pony she learned to be. Be the pony that actually deserved all the faith and pride her family had in her. On the other hand, she still had no reason beyond wishful thinking to believe in anything of these bizarre fantasies. Fluttershy may have been friendly, compassionate, and understanding, but none of that meant she wasn't also loonier than a Canadian bank vault. If Twilight continued to pursue this, allowing herself to get her hopes up, It would devastate her to find out exactly all the product of a kind-hearted but utterly delusioned mind. She wasn't sure what effect it would have on her friendship with Fluttershy. Well, it couldn't be anything good. She didn't want to lose the only friend she had. On top of that, Professor Tower would think of her. Telling her about any of this was a big risk. Arby was her favorite teacher, and was the one whose opinion mattered the most to her. Even if Twilight turned out to be right about this, she was still going about it all wrong. She was still going into this, assuming the hypothesis she wanted to be true, without any kind of evidence. And it wasn't the proper scientific way of investigating things. She didn't want to lose the professor's respect. Well, to start, Twilight realized that her classmates were in the process of putting their stuff away, getting her legs up to leave. Her irritability caused her to miss the remaining of the professor's lecture. She played at organizing the contents of her saddlebags, while the others exited the hallway. She had to read and hang an escalation of annoyance when she saw that one point stayed to talk with Professor Tower. Twinkle sighed. Twilight wasn't going to say anything potentially embarrassing with her around. So Twilight Sparkle waited. Her continued efforts to arrange her things had been looking farcical, without at any point paying attention to her. After a few minutes, the other student left. Finally had a chance.
Excuse me, Professor. Do you have a few moments? There's something I want to talk to you about.
Professor Tower looked up from his desk, where she had started the supplies he had been using during class.
Of course, Miss Barker. Do you have a question about the material you recovered today?
Twilight was assured the professor had noticed how distracted she had been, immediately obtaining it. So she was relieved that the professor didn't question her for saying she did.
I've been reading Galaxy's book on theoretical magic, and I was hoping to get your thoughts on something she wrote.
The professor let out a soft chuckle. You certainly are my most tenacious student. Seeing a flicker of confusion in Twilight's eyes, so he explained, I don't know if my colleagues explained you that.
Twilight couldn't help but beam a little. No, this is just a personal interest. Good to see the drive you so during your exit exam.
She used the man of magic, grabbed a couple of chairs and dragged to where the unicorns were standing.
Taking a seat, she asked, so what do you want to ask you about?
Twilight sat down nervously. This is it, now or ever.
Well, it was in her section of thought experiments.
She paused, still a chance to back off. She could always ask about something else. Somebody's cat, perhaps? She swallowed hard. If she could help her friend out, was it worth a little risk?
Do you know anything about parallel universes? Well, this is a fun little experience. I mean it. This was kind of entertaining.
And enjoyable, right, if you ask me.
My main real complaint with this whole entire thing is that since this was only 8 very, very short chapters, there was never any time for the story to grow or change or become better. We never had a chance to really see if the characters were all that accurate, or if the characters were inaccurate, or the characters were badly made. We never really had a chance to see the effects of these characters or how well they had changed thanks to this parallel world because the story was so short. I can say that the alternate 6 did feel very much alive, and of course, as their usual selves. Something interesting would pop up, and I would love to have seen them grow, but again, this story was short. A lot shorter than I can ever remember. Which kind of makes it painful to come back and see just how bad this fic could have been. The story could have been great. It could have been excellent. But the story stopped. But I think I have 2 ideas from how this could have changed. And maybe what could have happened. Considering the fact that this fic apparently was trying to say that Luna was suffering some flashbacks like Fluttershy was, I have to wonder if there was some sort of wish or some sort of portal thing that was going on that helped to prevent Nightmare Moon and the Rainbow. Like somebody cared about Fluttershy or something happened to Fluttershy and somebody decided to try to change the entire history in order to save her, or even Luna. And it caused all this. Or what if something bad happened to Fluttershy in her own world?
making it so that way Fluttershy had to deal with her own memories coming through. And that this is our Fluttershy, it's just that our Fluttershy and their Fluttershy got mixed up. And I bet in the end, they would try to figure out ways to change it and switch the other two Fluttershys. Or try to defuse them. And most likely get a really, really good sad ending going. Well, bittersweet. But that's just the way I see it. Still, great story, even though it was short. That is next time, won't you, as Pinkie Pie proceeds to give us advice. What sort of advice? Well, wouldn't you like to know? See you then.